Hello everyone and welcome back to another cracked out Wizard101 video. I'm still wearing the sunglasses, still here. I am an omnipresent, omnibenevolent being, and you will bow to me. I don't know why I said that. Forget I ever said that. Today, sorry, I lost myself there in the moment, in the journey. Today we're going to be talking about why I think balance in this game may be one of the more difficult schools, but it is the most rewarding school in this game and one of the funnest to play. Now, this is continuing in the long line of school videos I've been making so far, but I really thought that it would be remiss of me not to make a video on balance, because obviously one of the... the longest running series on my channel, had a stroke. One of the longest running series on my channel is a balance Let's Play series, and I think it would be like completely wrong of me to not talk about it and talk about why I chose balance and why I think it's one of the funnest schools to play in this game without a reason of a doubt. So let's get into it. You can see my script here. We're going through it because I really definitely need it today because my brain cannot keep track of my thoughts. So let's go over it. First, let's start off with balance. Balance is a school that isn't really good at anything. Now, some people might find that harsh, but it's true, right? Because they aren't the best at damage, they aren't the best with health, they aren't the best with resist, nor accuracy, crit rating, block rating, armor piercing, none of that, not even good at healing. Really, I'd say the only thing they're good at is power pip chance, and everyone can be good at that if they try hard enough. Now, what do I mean by that they're good at nothing? I mean that they are designed to be balanced. They're not the best at anything, but they're not the worst at anything either, I would say. Right? Because every school has their own strength, besides balance, which is just really balanced. And I think that makes for a very unique experience in Wizard101, because you can't really play to any specific strength. You just gotta be balanced, and you gotta vibe through the game. So, let's start off on balance and some of the difficulties you might have beyond that. Beyond the low stats overall, there's also the fact that you can't convert on balance bosses usually. You don't get a balance convert until like level 130, and that's from like an Athame or an amulet or whatever. But you can't convert on balance. Your only options in regards to balance are Spectral Blast or Hydra or Chimera later on. Ow, I scratched myself. That was rude of me. A little bit rude. Sorry, I damaged my own body, and now I am lost in my thoughts. Alright, continuing on. That makes balance enemies extremely difficult for balances in a lot of cases, and I mean extremely. Some of the most difficult bosses in this game, when you're playing balance, are balance bosses, and I'm not kidding. If you look at my Let's Play series, you can see that I struggled so many times with balance enemies. It was actually... like, some of the only instances where I had, not only instances, but some of the main instances where I had to call in, like, another wizard to help me for support was specifically just because I had no real way to kill balance bosses, because I just had to spam Spectral Blast a lot of time, and I didn't have nearly enough damage to deal with that. Like, even at Waterworks level, I think I had, like, 70 damage, which is pretty darn low, actually. A lot of people think that's high, but it's actually really, really low. Like, my average damage at level 60, I would say, on most wizards is around 90. So the fact that my balance was significantly lower than that, actually, really was harmful. But now I'm going to talk from Arc 1 to Arc 4, and my experience with it on balance, why I liked it, why I found it fun, and why I think it's the most rewarding. So let's start with Arc 1. It is painful, especially lower worlds into around Mushu level, right? Because you have... First off, if you're against a balance enemy, up until you get Spectral Blast at like 22, I think, 28, I don't know, whenever you get it. It's not 28, it's like 22 or 18 or something. Until you get Spectral Blast, you're really not going to be able to kill balance enemies. Like, it is a struggle to kill balance enemies. But all of this pain, and let me tell you, it's a lot of pain because you're not doing a lot of damage at that level, is rewarded with Judgment, which is one of the best spells in this game. Now, if you don't know, I would consider Judgment to actually be probably one of the best spells, like top 5 best spells in this game, and it's because it does 100 damage per pip. That means at max pips, max power pips, you can do 1400 damage plus enchant 300, get that up to 1700. I think there's only one spell that matches that damage, and that's Storm Owl, and I think Storm Owl is like 1700 to 1800 at max, if I'm remembering correctly, which I may or may not be. And this is really, really cool in my opinion, is that they gave Balance all of these downsides, but also made them one of the strongest schools in the game just from this alone. It's not the strongest school in the game, sorry. I meant that. Gave them one of the strongest spells in the game. And this definitely helps. It suddenly makes bosses a lot easier, but obviously you still have the problem with balance enemies, and this does not fix that. Balance enemies are still extremely difficult. And I'd like to say for the rest of Arc 1, definitely you're going to be using Judgment a lot, and that's going to help, but it's not going to solve everything. It's just like a little bit of a band-aid, a little bit of pat on the back, just so you're not quitting Balance in Arc 1. But I'd like to say, through all that pain is a really rewarding experience, because you have to think strategically, you have to think in ways that you wouldn't normally think with other schools, right? With Storm, you can just go, haha, funny Tempest, hit things, and boom, they're dead. With Fire, you can Meteor Strike, all that stuff. With Ice, you can shield, all that stuff, prepare yourself. I've said all that stuff 3 times now. All that stuff, all that stuff. Now I've said it 6 times. Kinda crazy. Sorry, I'm having a stroke. Let me take off my sunglasses so you can see my eyes. Look me in the eyes right now and tell me that I'm not a broken man. Look at me. Balance. Alright, back to the video after that little break. 6 minutes in? What have I been talking about for 6 minutes? God, you guys watch me? You listen to me? What's happening? Alright. So, Arc 1, I would say, is extremely rewarding. But, let's go with Arc 2 now to spice things up a little bit. Also, I want to get away from this Dragonspire music. Arc 2 is very, very difficult on a balance. And I'm not going to lie to you and say that it's even really that rewarding. But really, it's all a payoff once you reach level 100. Arc 2 is really painful. Zafaria, especially, I found to be really bad. And the reason for that is that there's a lot of balance bosses. And that can tend to, you know, hamper a balance. Especially with the fact that you don't get Chimera until, like, towards the end of that world. And even then, Chimera isn't even that good. It does, what's that, 900 damage, maybe, technically. So it's actually not that bad, but it's not that really that good either. Especially against bosses. And usually you want to use Power Nova against non-balanced bosses. But all this finally is rewarded once you reach level 100. And you can see definitely when I reached level 100, it renewed my drive a little bit for the series. Because I got this, you know, really sick Malistaire gear, on top of the fact that I got Morgantha Thame, I got Shane Von Shane's amulet, which was crazy, and the Alpha and Omega ring, and my damage shot up to almost 110, which is actually really, really good for a balance at level 100, I think. I could make it better if I had a better pet. You can see my pet is just straight garbage. I could probably get up to, like, 120, 130 damage if I really tried hard enough, but I'm just too lazy. But definitely my stats are good, and then you get into Arc 3, and it's suddenly godsend, because you can hit things, you can kill things, and balance doesn't feel like you are struggling to survive anymore. It feels like you are actually doing stuff. And I'd like to say, I think that Arc 3 is where things change for balance in a lot of cases, and suddenly the game becomes fun again. And really, that's one of the most rewarding things, is to get past the struggle of Arc 2 and to get to Arc 3, feel like you're suddenly a lot stronger, is great. Also, if you're wondering in the script why I said, oh, hello, never mind me, it's because some guy walked up to me while I was typing all this and just kind of stared into my soul, and I was like, okay, back up, bro. I don't need you here judging me for my script. And yes, this is what I consider a script. Look at this. This is like rough draft levels of script. You know when you turn it into the teacher and you're like, here's my rough draft of an essay, and you wrote like 5 words down, and the teacher's like, all right, final essay's due tomorrow, better be prepared. And you're like, fuck. You know, you guys get that. You're all in school. What am I doing? God, I'm so tired. but I'm also like wide awake at the same time. Really, that's all I need to go over this video. I've rambled enough, but let me just TLDR, if you just wanted to skip to the end of this video for some reason. Balance good, it's rewarding, but it's very difficult. And I think it's one of the best schools in this game, to be honest. One of the funnest schools in this game. Let me amend that. Not the best. One of the funnest schools in this game. And I'd very much recommend you guys give it a try. So, that's it for today. We learned about balance. You learned stuff today. You also learned that I am crazy on caffeine. Do I look okay? I don't think so. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Like and subscribe. All that stuff. Also, thank you for getting me to 2,500 subs. Kind of crazy, kind of nutty. You guys are a little bit cracked, if you know what I'm saying. So, adios. Have a fantastic day.